I have
Yeah.
heard Chinese parents are like Indian parents, that everybody should do science and maths.
I guess I just really suck at math.
Were you or your parents were introduced to martial art forms?
My dad got some rare blood disease. The Western doctors said he only have half a year to live. That's when he delved deep into the Chinese medicine, the qigong, the work with the prana. So he lived for another 35 years.
What was your life like before Sadhguru came in your life?
Sadhguru has always been there.
What made you think after doing all the programs that you want to do the teacher training as well?
Everything I do now is not for me.
How did you find your students? Because China is very different when it comes to promoting your classes, because you don't have Google, you don't have social media. Welcome to the podcast, Yamei. How are you today?
Thank you, Kritika. I'm good.
In China, you have so many martial art forms.
Yeah.
Were you or your parents were introduced to any of those martial art forms?
Yes. My dad, his life was very, very like abnormal.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was in the military as my mom was, and they were in the like a small village in the mountain area in the southern of China, southern part of China. After they graduated from college, so I was taken actually to that part of China, which is not Beijing. So I grew up, like part of my early years I spent there. So they were like doing some, I don't know, secretive military stuff over there. But then all of a sudden, like in his early 40s, my dad got some rare blood disease.
Okay.
And so he went to the hospital, and the Western doctors said he only have half a year to live.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's like very rare. It happens like, I don't know, 1 out of like a million.
And how old were you then at that time?
I was maybe like 5 or something. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very, very young. And he is very young himself, just like 40. So he's like, okay, then I will try something else. So that's when he delved deep into the Chinese medicine, the qigong, the work with the prana. Qi is
Qi,
right? Tai Chi and all
Chi.
that. He tried many different schools of practices, just whatever works for him. So he lived for another 35 years,
Wow.
which was like a miracle. Yeah. So he was the one who, like at my young age, introduced me to something that's beyond this physical world.
Yeah.
Like there is something. I don't want to call it God, but it's just like there's a universal law that you can, like, is ruling everything, but it probably doesn't have a human figure.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something he instilled in me. It's like there's some mysticism in this world, and it works for him at least.
I feel a lot of mysticism come from East, be it China, be it Japan, India. And other parts of Asia. I always get very so what is Tai Chi? It's is it breath work or it's just movement? Do you know?
It's very much like Hatha Yoga.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, there is some movement of the body, but definitely it should be coordinated with the breath, and the breath is a very big part of it. That's why it's called it's Tai Chi. It's not Chi. It's not the prana Chi. Tai Chi is like I don't know if you've seen that that picture with like half white,
yin and yang.
and half. Yeah, that's the Tai Chi picture.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like anything can be transformed into the other end.
Okay.
Yeah, so like just like how they view, like how the Taoism is viewing the world.
But you were never interested in learning Tai Chi since you saw a lot of improvement in your father. You were never motivated to learn that?
No, it's for older people. it was my opinion at that time. It was like very slow, and then I wasn't like ready to learn any of that, and also I did not have any physical problem at that time. Even though being very inactive, I had some scoliosis in my spine, like the twisting of the spine, and some problem with different parts of my body. But I didn't think I should do anything to correct it, because it wasn't bothering me that much yet. So
I think we all are like that, right? We live on the edge until something really happened. Then most of the people start yoga.
Yeah, I started yoga because I was almost in my mid-30s at the time. Yeah, I was like, I need some form of activity or like workout to keep my body working, because I don't know if I get like any like older, my body would
and this is a very general conception people have. I remember even when I started yoga, most of my friends were like, you're not that old, why you're starting yoga, which I feel is very unfortunate, because when you're young you have the energy to really delve deep into it. That should be the other way around.
So yoga also they think is for older people?
Yes. Yeah, I mean that's the general conception. That used to be general conception. Now it is changing, especially with the advent of internet. People are more aware, and there's so much conversation around health and fitness. I think the other reason is for yoga to become popular is it reached America. So if something reaches America, then the whole world follows it. Yeah. So I think that is another reason. And so many gurus, masters in India did a lot of work. But still, a majority of population still believe that yoga is, or any spiritual process for that matter, is for people who are above 60. Once you are in that stage of your life that you have tasted everything.
But that's really pretty late, right?
Yes.
Yes. I always show this like little video, like a 1-minute clip from Sadhguru to introduce as an introduction to the prospective students, that he talks about when you see like people who practice yoga, how they move, how they go about their day. You will wish you have done some yoga now, not when it's too late for you. So
that's true. Before we start talking about your experiences and your teaching, so take me back to your life before Sadhguru happened. You were in China, I guess. So what was your life like before Sadhguru came in your life?
Okay. Sadhguru has always been there. It's just I did not know him. So before I knew about Sadhguru and Isha, I think my life has been very smooth. I was born and raised in Beijing in the 70s, long time ago. And so I've just been a very chill child, I guess. I just do things for the experience. I remember very early on, I know I'm just here to experience everything. So I wasn't really like seeking anything or searching for an answer or anything like that. I just like somehow I went to the best high school and junior high in Beijing, and then naturally I went to one of the top universities in China. And I studied English language and literature, which was my favorite subject. And I really enjoyed it. And everybody was like applying for overseas study, graduate school. So I also applied, and I got into Stanford. And I studied media studies, communication.
In Stanford?
Yeah, at Stanford. So that's how I got out of the country. And after graduation, I worked for some big companies, GE, and another is WPP. It was like a communication company, a British company. And I worked there for a few years, and then I got married with my high school classmate. He was a Yale graduate, PhD. So I was like, and then we raised a family. I got a girl and boy, traveling around the world. So life seems to be like picture perfect, almost. from the outside. But inside, I always feel like there should be something more than this to life. Like there will be something. There's always something missing. I don't know what, but I still didn't start searching. So then we as a family we moved back to Hong Kong, just to be closer to parents. Just back to Asia after 11 years of being in the US. So there is when I first started yoga.
Okay.
I did it more like an exercise, like a workout, because in my school years, I hated PE. I wasn't like a very active child. I was always believing like people should just live in their minds. Like no business with the body is needed, like working out and everything. So I just I did not do anything like active in my life until then. It was my neighbor. She's from, I think she was from South America, and she's very friendly lady, and she dragged me to a yoga class in Hong Kong. Yeah, okay. It was a hot yoga class.
Hot, H-O-T, hot.
Yeah, H-O-T. I was wondering, why do you do hot yoga? You just stand on the balcony and you'll be sweaty all over. Yeah. So I went with her and I started the class, and I felt like pretty good afterwards. Like it gave me like a release and stretches my body, and like I don't know, just something feels good. So I started doing studio yoga there.
Okay.
Yeah. For 2 years while I was there, I went there for like every week, maybe 3-4 times. And I tried so many different schools of yoga. Okay. It was so eye-opening. I did not
Everything that was available in China, you tried it all.
Yeah, not only in China, because in Hong Kong, right? So Hong Kong is like a mixture of East and West. Like everybody went there. There were even like something called Asia Yoga Conference every year, and I attended twice. So like 4-year conference, a 4-day conference. And
which year was this when you started practicing studio yoga?
2008. And so I was completely new. And I tried so many different schools. I went to that conference, as I told you. There's so many masters from all over the world, mainly like modern types of yoga. So I tried like Yin yoga, Vinyasa, Ashtanga, Yoga. Even there's something called laughing yoga. Yeah, it's just like everything in the market I tried, and I was a bit confused actually. I thought, why are there so many schools? Isn't yoga supposed to be just like simple and like very like with like great history and all that? But those types of yoga, they're fairly new. Like somebody just invented something out of it, and they will call it, they will use their name mainly like to name it like certain type of yoga. So but I still went for the studio. And 2 years after our life in Hong Kong, we went back to Beijing, where I'm originally from. So as a family, we stayed in Beijing. And so I was so afraid that I was gonna lose all these practices. So I signed up for 3 yoga studios. I got membership, and I went there.
You have a lot of yoga in China?
At that time, it just started actually. Yeah, the Western yoga just got imported into the Chinese market, and people were seeing it really as a very interesting, a new form.
But there was no Indian yoga in China?
No, there is. Even there, I got some Indian teachers from those 3 yoga studios. Okay. Yeah, the Indian teachers are very strict, actually. Somehow, it's like a boot camp. Yeah, every time I went for the Indian teacher, I need to like work up my, gather some courage to go. Yeah. So there are different sorts of yoga. All sorts of yoga were there available, and I just went and tried, and I just like. Still kept my practice going. Like every week I'll go for some classes like that. So I did studio yoga for 5 years. Yeah, up until 2014. When I met Sadhguru. Yeah.
Before we delve deep into yoga, I have just one question. It's not related to yoga. You said you studied English. But I have
Yeah.
heard Chinese parents are very much like Indian parents, that everybody should do science and maths. How come you were relieved and you studied language, not mathematics or science?
I guess I just really suck at math.
High five.
I hated it. I was okay in elementary school. I loved it. But somehow, like, when it gets more and more difficult, I can't deal with math. So I was always like interested in language, like Chinese. And then later on, when I turned 12, is when I went for like junior high school. I studied ABC. I started English like at the age of 12.
12, okay.
Yeah. So I was fascinated by this new language. I think language is really interesting because it opens a new door. It's like a new pair of eyes. You're looking at the world in a different way. So I really, I'm a language, like I'm really interested. Basically, I'm a very like a language learner, sort of. So I enjoyed my English classes and everything. And I love like liberal arts. So I'm not a science or a STEM.
But your parents, my question is regarding parents. They never forced you?
Yeah, my parents are really great. I'm so thankful for my parents because I think they are not like normal Chinese parents.
Typical Asian parents.
Yeah, typical. Yeah, especially for that age, that era, like in the 70s and 80s. Nowadays, they're like many more like westernized, almost like parents, right? But in their time, I think they're really pioneers in their thinking. So my parents, they actually went for like the best university also in China. At that time, it was like a military school.
Okay.
So they studied automation for missiles.
Wow.
So it was really like high tech, I guess, at their time. Yeah, but my mom told me, no, don't. As a girl, I do not advise you to go into those fields. Because it requires a lot of, I don't know, maybe hard work or like a mental and physical hardship or something. She just was trying to like lure me away from it. It's just like something you enjoy doing, like whatever you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be math or science or chemistry or whatever.
You were really lucky.
Yeah, I got really lucky.
Yeah, not many parents think like that, especially as you mentioned in that age.
In that age, yeah. At their time, I mean, I don't know, maybe they're aliens or something. I always think of my dad as an alien. Yeah, he talks like very differently from the people I normally meet.
Okay, so now coming back to your life in China, I think 2014, you started doing yoga in 2008. And until 2018, you made sure you tried every yoga studio of Beijing, Hong Kong, and
all the schools of yoga.
Yes. How Sadhguru happened? Like, how did you stumble upon Sadhguru? Because as far as I know, internet is not allowed that much in China. You don't have
internet is, but like Google, like some forums of some platform on the internet is banned somehow.
Yes,
but we still have internet.
Oh, you had access to internet.
Yeah, we can still search. It's just like certain sites, like Google, Facebook, Instagram, things like that.
Social media platforms were not there for sure.
Yeah. And search engine, we have our own search engine. It's just like they have the Chinese version of it. Yeah.
So how did Sadhguru
came into my life?
To your life?
Okay. So it was actually, I have to be very thankful to one of my yoga teachers in the studio.
Okay.
Because at that time, I've already done yoga for 5 years. I thought I'm like very experienced practitioner already. I can do like headstand, like wheel pose, all those difficult postures. Because I think yoga, like at least in my practice, in the studios I practice, it has become like a competitive sport. I also did that and I got injured so many times on so many parts, like my hamstring, my right hip. Yeah, because some teachers, like they're pushing you too hard, like beyond your comfort extent. of your comfort zone. So it's like I got injured and I thought this is not the yoga I started with, I wanted to do. So I had this confusion in my mind, and then I think it calls for something. So this yoga teacher, one day she approached me and she said, I just came back from India and I found this guru. He's enlightened and he's still living. He's pretty young. He's in his 50s at that time. And he's still teaching, like he's not like hiding the mountains or in the Himalayas, but he's still in the world. He's still like teaching programs. And you should just try out his program. It's so different from all yoga that you've done, I can guarantee you. And I was like, yeah, very curious. So she said, maybe you should read this book first. So that's the book that I will always recommend to anybody I meet. Is the book called Midnights with the Mystic.
Yes, I have read
you
that.
read that, right?
Amazing book, yeah.
Beautifully written, right? Yeah, it was written by Cheryl Simone, this American lady. She's on a spiritual path for a long time, very successful business, family-wise, but otherwise there's so many deep questions that she needs some answer for. So that book was an interesting read for me. I was deeply touched because at the time I just turned 40 and I can relate so much to her questions. And Sadhguru just like in the book, he just like whatever he said, I would say, wow, that makes sense to me. So it's like everything is just goes very deep into me. And I still remember the first page, or one of the first pages, like it started with a quote from Rumi. And it says, there is something within that gives you life. Seek that. So that's the word seeking. Yeah, that's seeking. So I was like, yeah, I've been all my life like doing things like having some achievement, accomplishment, everything is like outward. But I never like really seek anything inwardly. So yeah, this just opened the whole door and the whole world to me. Was that book. And after reading that book, I just Googled. Oh yeah, I can get Google because, sorry, we can cut this part. I got the VPN. So I searched, I searched Sadhguru on the internet. I watched all of his videos, all the blog articles, like everything that I can get my hands on. I was just like so mesmerized and addicted to his talking. So I watched so much of his talking, and then I just decided I should see him because he's still there. He's still teaching. So very fortunate for me. It's like 2 months after, it was February 2014. I learned from my yoga teacher. There is a program that Sadhguru is conducting in the Southern India, Isha Yoga Center. So I signed up right away. It was my first time going to India, but I did not mind just like going there by myself or anything like that. I did not think for like having any second thought. I said, I need to go, I need to see him. So I signed up for that inner engineering program with Sadhguru.
So how was the program for you?
Well, the program was another life-changing experience, I should say. The ashram itself is very, very different than what I thought India was like.
What did you think? Just curious.
I thought there would be some chaos. Well, on the street, there are cows, there are sheep walking, and with motorcycles and cars. Like everybody's using the same road, and I don't know, like pretty free but not very orderly place. Like definitely some.
So that's what people in China used to think of India.
Well, yeah, maybe some people still think it that way because they haven't been there.
They haven't been there.
Yeah, and there might be like parts of India which
which are like that.
Right? Yeah, because I've been to Varanasi. It was like a little bit like that. So, but the ashram is like Isha Yoga Center. The campus itself is so different from anywhere I've been. I was like, am I still on earth? Yeah, this is such it's like out of this world. The beauty of it, like the smell, the fragrance, and like everything, everywhere I went, it was just so beautiful. Yeah, so I even shared after the program that my daughter, when he was like 3 or 2, when we do like bedtime story, and I will chat with her, like when the lights turn off, she'll like just tell me stories after stories. And once she told me I came from this planet called Flower Planet.
Okay.
And that there's a king and a queen and many children, and I was one of them. And my queen mother is much more beautiful than you are.
Oh my God.
And my dad was so busy doing all the work to feed these hundreds of kids.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, you came from that planet. So this flower planet in my mind was like very beautiful. And so I shared after this program, I thought, this is like Flower Planet to me. Yeah, it's really like another world. And I enjoy the program so much as well. There's no difficult postures. Like anybody can do it almost. Very simple breath work and all that. And
yet very powerful.
Yet very powerful. And after even just only 4 days of the program, I felt like my whole life turned like 180 degrees. Okay. Yeah, it was just like that. It just like took a turn. Yeah, so I was very grateful for that program. And Sadhguru was there. He was so available. He was like dining with us. Did you get a chance
to talk to him?
Yeah,
I got the program.
Yeah, okay. We got many chances.
Any?
Yeah. I got many chances to talk with him. Q&A. He would just sit down and we would just sit around him, and we'll start the Q&A like that. Okay. Yeah, and we play frisbee and we dance together, like candlelit dinner. It was so beautiful, the program.
How many people were there in
Only
your program?
113, I remember.
Only 113 people.
Yeah, very small class. He wasn't that popular at that time. Yeah, I guess it was very precious.
So do you remember something that specifically stood out for you, what he said or any conversation?
Yeah, I remember. I don't remember much of what he said because I already heard all of them in the videos and the online programs, discourses. But I remember I was like just standing in front of him. We were just chatting. And I was like, I think this is so good. I mean, I found Isha Yoga and I want everybody in China to meet you. Like, when are you coming to Beijing?
Yeah.
You should touch more people than you have done now. And he was like, can your government take my look? So he had got this like turban and all this thing. Can they take my outfit? And so I just joked, I just teased him. I was like, do you have other outfits you can wear? Maybe then you can go without a problem. And so he started asking me, like, what's the best time to go to Beijing? What is the best time of the year? And I told him it's August, maybe October. It's great for golfing and whatever he loves to do. So we're even discussing about all that.
Oh, wow.
But still, he hasn't got a chance to go. I don't know. I hope one day he will. But then I remember clearly, like, I got to ask him 2 questions. Because at that time, I told you before, like, because I just turned 40. And in China, it might be so also in other cultures. Like 40 is a very significant age. Like we call it 40不惑. That means when you're reaching 40, you should have the clarity in life. Okay. You should be not like confused about like things or like that. So I was like, I'm 40, but I'm very confused at that time with my life and a lot of things. So I actually took a lot of questions with me to see Sadhguru. And I got to ask 2 of them. One is like the practice he taught us is like includes some chanting, right? Chanting. And I told him, like, I don't know if I can do this like back home if my spouse is not very supportive. Like, what do I tell them? What am I doing?
Yes.
And so he said, you just tell them you're like meditating. Just use the umbrella term. And I said, why? He asked me why. And he said, so that you become a more obedient wife. He was clearly joking. So I just look at him. I said, "Is that what you want from me? Really?" And so he looked at me back in the eyes for like a few seconds, like trying to get where my question is coming from. So, and he said out of the blue, he said, "You cannot save anyone." Just that.
You cannot save anyone.
Yeah, you cannot save anyone. Basically, all you can do the work is to do it on yourself. Yeah. So then
And how did you perceive that answer?
So I realized that what I was trying to do at that time, like asking for his advice on how to continue my practice when my spouse wasn't that supportive, is I tried so hard to get the other person, to get my spouse to be at the same frequency or whatever you call it. It's just the same
page,
just, right? Same level, whatever, with me, so that it will be some harmony in the family. But he said, it's like, you just do what you need to do, and the work should always be done just on yourself. So you don't try to save everybody else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have this complex, I think, to help people, to help other people, to be a mother to other people, to like to do things for other people. So it's not healthy. So that's why he just out of the blue, he said, "You cannot save anyone," which is like, just, I think it's just what I needed. And then I had a follow-up question. I said, "What about the kids? Like, we always talk about what we should do for the kids, right? So is there anything that we shouldn't do to the kids?" I thought I was just being smart, asking that type of question, what we should avoid doing. And so he said, "It doesn't matter. Like, what you do to the kids, what you don't do to the kids, you don't worry about that. You just be the best version of yourself." That again reinforces, you just do the work.
Work on yourself, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Work on yourself. So yeah, I got double dose of working on myself. Yeah, and that makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But coming to, again, a part of your question, you said it's very important when you are seeking something and when you are initiated to get support from outside, especially for you coming from a very different culture. How did your family perceive your passion for yoga? Because when you were doing for studio yoga, they would assume it's more like a fitness regime that you're doing.
Yes.
Okay, but when you're traveling to India, meeting this guru, I'm sure it would be very different. How did they perceive it, and how you were able to explain it to them? What are you doing?
I think my parents, as how they are, they wouldn't question anything I do.
Okay.
They would be very supportive. And my mom actually started reading like Inner Engineering, that book.
Okay.
I think at that time, maybe. And my dad also, he always tells me that he is not advising me for something or against something. He said, your inner freedom is the most important, is the utmost important thing.
Yeah.
So he's saying, like, after all this practice, I'm becoming like happier and healthier and calmer and all that. So they think, okay, so this is something that really works for you, is much more beyond like a physical activity, like a workout regime. Yeah, it's more than that, and it's like not doing any harm to you. So why don't you just explore it and then just like share it with us? So most of my family are pretty supportive, and especially I didn't go for the teacher training later on for like 21 weeks. All of a sudden I go there. Like I gradually built up my trip. So every year I'll go there once or twice.
But how did the people who were of your age perceived your interest in yoga? Were they supportive? Were they curious? Or were they stopping you? Like your friends or maybe your spouse or...
Yeah, my spouse, my ex-husband, he was like pretty afraid. He was a little bit scared of this whole concept of a guru and a spiritual seeking through yoga. He was like, yoga should be just for physical physical, like a workout, physical health. It shouldn't be anything more than that. If it is beyond that, it might be something shady about it, or so he was a little bit hesitant, but I still went. And my friends, I think I don't really know. I didn't have much deep conversation with my friends about this thing I'm doing, because I want to slowly build up the practice and see how it works on me first. And then I can share with them. And even while sharing with them, I wasn't the pushy type. I wasn't like, oh, I found
You're
this
not
girl.
the sales girl.
I'm not that. Only if they ask me, like only maybe 2-3 of my like classmates, my close friends, they approached me with something, and then I would advise them, give them peace of my mind. And otherwise, I wouldn't like just sell it to them or just like share many details. So they know I'm going to India, I'm practicing one form of classical yoga, improving, like doing some self-growth or something like that. So they know, but if they're not interested, then they just keep it at a distance.
So after a few months or maybe years of practice, what was one significant shift that you observed in yourself? I'm sure there would be many, but something significant that you noticed?
I would say is not taking myself too seriously.
Okay.
And I think that's a big part that will have its impact on many different areas. Because before I was nervous if I meet like with strangers, or if I'm doing like public speaking or anything that requires me to do my best or to present the best side of me to the public, something like that. I really don't want to mess up. So, and for example, I have an example during the teacher training. I did this a mock class, but it's for the whole class of 170 people. And my class was to give them an introduction. And that introduction is not only to introduce Isha Yoga, but also myself, like a lot of sharing of my story. So I did that preparation, that rehearsal with Swami and with some senior teachers. And they said, oh, you're like doing it, like so many problems. So the night before, they gave me so many things to work on. And I got very nervous. I said, how can I change all of these like overnight? And I don't want to do this, and it's not something for me, and it's like too much. And then Swami, he said one thing to me. He said, this is really not about you. This is your offering to the audience, sitting like off stage or whatever, sitting on the chair, because it could be like they just hear like one of your story and they be touched and they will change their whole life. So this is really not you. Afterwards, I think this concept
deep,
really went deep in me, and everything I do now is not for me. It's not for myself. So when I have this type of mentality, I don't feel nervous at all, like going anywhere or on this planet, like everywhere, whoever I meet, I'm just like very close. I can get very close with people and not nervous about like something would happen to me, something bad would happen. Either this person would be have some hostility or like bring harm to me. Like nothing of that nature would happen, at least like in my perception. So I think this is like one of the major shifts. Also many others.
But did your family notice anything, like your husband or your kids? Because I remember when I did my inner engineering and I did my first mandala, before I could notice anything, my colleagues and my husband noticed. Luckily, positive changes. So was that your case?
I think they also notice, especially kids. I think kids are so smart and they're so perceptive. I think my kids are my best teachers.
Okay.
Yeah, they teach me everything. So when I went back with the Shambhavi Mahamudra, that Kriya, after the inner engineering course, I started practicing. So it was like doing the mandala. And so my daughter at that time, she was only 7, I think. She just started school. And so I'll do my practice every day for the 21 minutes. And I noticed some changes in myself, like physically, like I'm eating less, I'm sleeping less, I'm more energetic. So I'm sure she also noticed, and I'm calmer, like I'm not like scolding my kids like every now and then. So I think she definitely noticed. That's why she wrote a little card and stick it on my the wall that I did my meditation. She wrote like in her preschool English. She wrote, and she also decorated the card. I still have a picture of it. It says meditation in progress. Please do not disturb.
Oh,
So
wow.
I think that was like a very nice way of approval. Like mom is doing something nice to herself and also to the family. So just keep her there.
Her.
Yeah, don't.
It's working.
Let her do it.
Yeah.
Please do it. Yeah, please keep it up.
That's very nice.
Don't miss a day. Yeah, something like that. That's what kept me going, actually. She also drew like a certificate also. Best meditator or something like that.
Wow.
Best yogi or yoga meditator or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I thought this is definitely working. Yeah, it's like benefiting people around me. That's why I just like in 4 years I did all the programs and I started practicing all of the Isha yoga.
So 2018 was the year when the yoga teacher training happened, right?
Yes.
What made you think after doing all the programs that you want to do the teacher training as well? Because that requires a big leap of faith. You're being in an ashram for 5 months.
Yeah,
so
5.5.
5.5 almost. So what made you decide for?
I think the moment I finished my inner engineering with Sadhguru back in 2014, I already decided I wanted to become a teacher because there are not many English-speaking meditators, Isha meditators at the time.
In China?
In China, and no Chinese-speaking. There are only 2 Chinese-speaking Mandarin-speaking Hatha Yoga teachers, and they're both from Malaysia. So they were not teaching in China. So I thought, like, the Chinese people, we also need this. And if it's not for me, someone else needs to do this.
Yeah.
So I really, really wanted to become like a Hatha Yoga teacher right away. But then my kids were young, and I thought I need more practice to improve myself first. And also I want to do more volunteering work. Yeah. So I thought maybe I will do it a little bit later. But this is always something that I wanted to do. And then I think 2014, 2 Chinese teachers joining the teacher training. So I thought that's a relief for me. I was like, okay, then there will be some Chinese teacher teaching. I'm not in a rush then. So I'll just take my time. So in these 4 years, I just took my time and I volunteered many times, and I kept up my own sadhana and wait for my kids to go to junior high school. And so I was ready. So I think the first day of teacher training, we shared about why we came here. And I told them all about this, and I said, I felt like it's like I'm a child and I have this yummy candy that I just want to save it. I don't want to open it up. Like teacher training for me is like a candy. I know if I eat it, there will be no more because you can only take it once in a lifetime. Yeah, I want to wait for the right moment. I'm just like, now I'm eating that.
What were some of the things that stood out for you during the training?
I think for me, training-wise, is that difficult. The teaching, the learning, and everything. I mean, it was okay, and language was okay. And I think I was like, naturally, I just gravitated towards this teaching. I really enjoyed all the mock classes. I really loved it. I was like, this is the best thing that we can do to other people. So I think that was all right. But I think everybody has his or her karmic design, right?
Yes.
Structure. So for me, teacher training, the hardest part was just to get over my limitation of trying to control the situation, trying to make someone who's closest to me just like what I am. So that was like my husband being there was such a gift from Sadhguru. If he did not go, I'll be like just breezing through, and it was like nothing really touched me.
Okay.
But him being there was, oh my God, it's so much work, because he was studying at a different pace. He was doing everything very slowly. So every time I was just trying to like hush him, like just to like get him like quickly to finish this and finish that. And he's like, don't pressure me. This is my responsibility, right? You just do your thing. And so I was like, had such a hard time just trying to get him to catch up with my pace and all that. And sometimes he'll do something. It almost became like something for sure. It's like whatever he is involved with my project, like my PA or with my some other project, it will, something major will mess up. Like either the speaker will not like make sound or something. Like something bad will happen. So I was kept on my toe all the time. I was like whenever he's there, I have to prepare myself really, really well. I have to be conscious of every moment and not just take everything for granted. So him being there really, really gives me like a big, I don't know.
Someone was there to test you.
To test me, like always a punch in the face or something like that. But I was able to laugh at it. In the beginning, I was like a little bit angry, like I was some like negative emotion towards this. I was like very anxious, but in the end was like, I don't need to take this seriously, right? So nothing.
Don't take yourself too seriously. I think that seeps in again.
And if this thing happens, good. If that thing happens, very good, right? Remember? So like anything happen is a good thing. So there's no good or bad. And Sadhguru also, I think I remember him talking about keeping like the ashram sometimes like intentional chaos. Like you don't know, like if we're volunteering for a program, I'm sure you had this experience, like you don't know like what you're supposed to do sometimes. And you don't know how things will turn out like tomorrow when the program is happening. But like everybody was kept on their toe and they're just trying to figure out. And this is very important, I think, in the path of spiritual seeking, is you don't settle in your like comfort zone. So this intentional chaos was brought by my husband to my teacher training, and just like cranked up all the way till the end. I think the intensity.
And now comes the $1 million question: how teaching started for you? Because as you mentioned, China is very different when it comes to maybe promoting your classes, because you don't have Google, you don't have much social media. I'm sure it would be there in some form. So how did you find your students and the whole process, if you can explain?
Of teaching. In the beginning, at first a year and a half, I was constantly asked by other people. Either they're like program organizer or foundation, Isha China. We got 2 centers in China, which was founded 2019, the year after I graduated. So just different people were asking us to teach there. They organize everything and we just show up and do the teaching. So that was the easiest part, I think, teaching. And we did not need to worry about enrollment and marketing. And I remember I taught the first foundation program in Shanghai, in our Shanghai center. There were like 25 people, like a good sized class. And of course I was nervous because I only just graduated. And if it's just teaching, then I think it just happens like very beautifully, right? And then after a year and a half, me and my husband thought maybe we should just try out our home studio, because that requires more work. And we feel like as a Hatha Yoga teacher, we should not be doing only the teaching part. And we should maybe just try to see like which area in our life that we need some growth. So home studio is more work that way. And we learn how to work with each other, basically. So we did 2 years of that home studio, and then COVID hit. We maintained our home studio. Basically, we're not doing too many programs, like maybe twice a month. Upon request from the students that we taught before, will like by word of mouth, they will just came. We didn't do too many like marketing efforts and all that. It just happens organically. If like 2-3 people want to come and learn Surya Kriya, we'll organize a class.
So it's more word of mouth in China, like people just recommend courses to other people. That's how it works?
For our home studio phase, it worked like that. I think 90% of our students came by word of mouth. Because you see like how much change they have even during those 2 sessions. You must have experienced that same thing, right? When they first sat down, and their facial expression, like might be some doubt of what this type of yoga is, right? There must be some like concern about if I'm not flexible enough. Like all those questions were like showing up in their face. But just mere 2 sessions, like 7 hours later, like how their face just glow and their whole being just shine.
So satisfying, actually. That is the best
very
part.
Satisfying. So like this is working for them, and human nature is such that if it works for you, you want to share with all your loved ones, right? So they went home, and then they just bring back their husband, wife, parents, children, best friends, colleagues. And that's how we did the 2.5 years. Sometimes they will ask me, they will be so grateful, my participants. They'll ask me like, you're answering our questions. Like we have so many questions every day, right? And you're spending maybe hours answering questions. Do you feel like your energy has got depleted, or like you're wasting your energy, your time on all of this work just to help us? And I really honestly, I never ever thought that way. I don't think it's like wasting of my energy. It's just like whatever I need to do for them, I'm doing it for myself too. So that sense of me not being there, I think really helps.
What were some of the fun or interesting conversation or questions your participants have after the class? Because it's very new for them, right? At least for people who are from India or have some Indian background, they have exposure to this sort of yoga, but they have some knowledge or some background. But for people in China, it's very new, sitting on the floor, like doing invocation. How do they perceive it, and what are some fun questions they ask you?
Well, I'm really bad at thinking of funny things. I should keep a diary. I mean, for my students, I find that a lot of them, they already had exposure with yoga, but the Western style of yoga. So when they came, they were always like very afraid of what this is gonna be like. Is the teacher gonna send them to the back of the room if they're not doing it properly? It happened like that. I was very surprised to hear them saying that. They're not doing it perfectly, so that's why they were like positioned in the back rows.
Oh, wow.
I was like, really? And I said, I felt so hurt.
But this is not like a school. It should not happen even in a school, right?
Exactly. But it happens like the ranking, right? The school ranking. So they were like, some of them got traumatized almost by going to this type of yoga. And they always like try to make sure that this is not going to happen in our class. So I assure them just to Like you don't have to be flexible to come to do yoga. With practice, you will get more flexible. This is something that happens naturally, but we're not doing it for the purpose of getting flexible. Yeah, so all that questions I will try to like reassure them of. They have so many concerns actually that way. Not about what yoga is actually, because they thought they knew what yoga is. It's just like doing postures and asanas. And also after our program and Sadhguru's talk and everything, they like most of them will be like wowed. Like, oh, I'm so grateful for this form of yoga and I did not know this existed in the world. So yeah, I think they're okay with taking the concept of yoga, because yoga has been in China for also more than 20 years now.
Okay, so I before our podcast I posted a message in my WhatsApp group and some of the social media channels that we have our guests, you coming, and you're very experienced. So if anyone want to ask some questions, so I have a few questions from people that I would like you to address. The first and the most common question was that even after practicing for a certain number of time, or even after practicing yoga very regularly, very sincerely, they are not able to get into some postures. They don't see improvement. They understand that when we say that we should not do it as a physical exercise, but at the same time it is very demotivating that you're doing every day and you're not seeing improvement. So what should you tell them? What should be your advice for them?
Well, I think I got that question a lot from my own participants, because, well, there are different situations. Some of them are just so in a rush, like this high-paced world society. They only practice for like 2 months, and they said, I practiced for so long and my hand is still not touching the ground. So that's one case. It's like you just give it enough time. But some other students have practiced for maybe 4 years, 5 years, and their hands are still not touching the ground fully. So they're really like demotivated and they're like very concerned, like why other people are doing and all that. So one thing I will tell them is like you never compare yourself with others. Even you don't compare yourself with your own practice. Like yesterday, like your hands are already touching and today is not touching is perfectly fine. Like your body reacts to the practice every day differently due to what you eat, your mental status, your mood, your lifestyle, like everything, right? It's not just like the flexibility in your hamstring. Another aspect is, I think Sadhguru was talking once about, it's not about the content, it's the context. So it really doesn't matter like what postures are you doing or what practice you're doing. Sometimes it's about like how you approach it. Like if you're approaching it with full awareness, consciousness, focusing on your breath and everything like that, those things are much more important than your hands fully touching the ground. So if you are doing everything perfectly, but just one thought, okay, I'm the one in this entire room who can do like Matsyendrasana the best, then you're done. Like you're not doing yoga. So sometimes people, especially like long-time practitioner, they did everything perfectly, right? And they will think, oh, so highly of their own.
They have the spiritual ego.
They boosted their own ego that way. It's the opposite of what yoga does. You're not coming to union with anything. You're like building a thicker wall, right? Of your physical self. So that defeats the purpose of yoga. So that's why I always remind them, like, Hatha Yoga is just one small part of yoga. Also, like other parts, we do the bhakti and the karma.
Nada yoga.
Nada yoga, right? And all those things, you have to realize like what yoga is really about, and not to like lose your track of what you started. Like, with, like what's your intention in the beginning, because it's easily lost in this world of competition. Like I have to be the best, I do the posture perfectly to beat the other person, the person next to me, right? So yeah, I tell them we got our eyes closed most of the time, so don't worry.
The problem is when they're opening their eyes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then
So
they can compare.
yeah, don't open your eyes. Just keep them closed. Like cultivate some inner awareness rather than comparison on the outside.
So the other question that I had from participants was that many of them were telling me that they have done the practice and they know how beautifully it works. Within a few days they have seen their lives transforming or so many benefits, but life happens and they drop the practice. So what could be the way to continue the practice without fail or just keep in touch?
Okay, I would like to hear what your response would be, but I will say I'll tell you what I think. I think it's so natural.
Yeah.
Even for us teachers, right?
Yes. Yeah. So one thing which I always tell people is the power of Sangha. When you are in the company of like-minded people, it really makes a lot of difference. I remember during COVID, we had our upgrade online and some teacher asked the same question. Sadhguru said something very beautiful, that if you are hanging out with people who are getting up at 9 a.m. and even if you get up at 7 a.m., you'll be like the superstar. But you should hang out with people who are getting up at 4 a.m. and then you should feel that, oh my God, there's so much more work to do. So I think company makes a lot of difference. And I always tell you are the average of 5 people that you spend most time with. So make sure you choose your company wisely. And if you don't have people in the home who are practicing, it's okay. You don't have to force them. At the same time, you can have company of some people who are on the same path, and you can have some sort of gatherings time to time, and we do that here all the time. Once in a month or twice in a month we try, where we share our stories, and I get to learn so much. The only reason I'm able to keep up with yoga is because I teach and I get inspired so many times with so many kids. I think they keep me going. So that's what I tell them. That is one thing that always helps. But other than that, what would you suggest?
I totally agree with the benefit of Sangha. And that's why when we had the yoga studio, the proper yoga studio, every month we host one day of our monthly meet. So in the morning they will do their own practice. They can come in the classroom at 8 and then finish around noon. And then in the afternoon we watch Sadhguru video and we do some chanting, some meditation, and then we'll do like a circle time. So anybody can share their story or their question, and we'll all chip in. So that's a beautiful day. Like every month we have that. It's free for everybody who learned Isha Yoga, all the practitioners. So that I think is a very good support. So because we had the studio, we're just trying to utilize it the best to support people. Another is we do many review sessions within a month. So at least 5-6 review sessions they can sign up. And also I think I tell them that it's okay if you dropped it for a while. Sometimes they feel this sense of guilt that they don't want to come back to the review session just because they stop doing it. And they do not want to be embarrassed, or they do not want the teacher to know this. And I tell them it's totally fine. You just don't, I'm not judgmental. I won't judge you. You drop it because of life situation. It's perfectly normal. Don't think you have to stick to a practice for 10 years without a fail, so without missing a day. So they just I just try to create more like easy atmosphere for them to come back and refine their practice and have their questions answered. I think those are really, really important for keep them going. So we plan to do even more review sessions.
I think reviews are very important, and many people underestimate the power of reviews.
Yeah. Yeah, they think they're doing it every day. How can I do it wrong? But you will. Especially in the first 6 months of
even later
too.
I recently had a review, and he's a very sincere meditator, and we just both of us discovered he was doing his Ardha Siddhasana wrong. so I think reviews are very important. I keep telling everyone that I cannot explain enough how reviews are so important, because even for us, right, when we go for our upgrades, we get corrections, and even after so many years, you'll be amazed at how that knee was bent, how those like your fingers were not aligned, because your body has a tendency to do its own things. So reviews do play a very important role
during the upgrade too, because I think once I was guiding the yogasana and I can see different teachers doing different things. So I even talked to Swami about it. I said, for us too, we need constant like reviews and practice corrections and all that. So that is another thing. And how to keep we offer online programs as another way to support them, because some people, especially initially when they first got like into yoga practice, they don't have the habit of getting up early in the morning and doing and sleeping early maybe so that they had enough sleep. So we offer this 21-day online program, which we do 21 days every morning and night. So 6 in the morning and night. In the morning, we'll start with like simple Wupa practice. And at night, we'll do some Isha Kriya and some meditation just to quiet them down, send them to sleep. So just 121 day, they will then get into almost the habit of change their lifestyle into like do some early morning sadhana. So they thought this is really helpful for them. So just different ways to think how they can keep up their practice, but still not to have them feel this sense of guilt is what we're trying to make them feel. Because even for us, we did the training for half a year, and we sometimes will still miss something. Right? But of course, we keep it like a living process within us, and then we can transmit. So I normally still keep up my daily practice. It's just like how many hours, like 2 versus 6 or something
that is
like
the question.
that. But for them, I mean, they're so busy. They're not Hatha Yoga teacher, and their life is so different. Their situation is different case by case. So just like if you drop, it's fine, and we're always here to help you pick it up. And whatever support we can offer you. Just come back, just to have them have a sense of ease. That's what we're trying to do with all this Hatha Yoga, right? Like this is a sense of ease that's more efficient than your sleep, right? That's what Sadhguru talks about.
Absolutely.
If you're at ease, and everything just runs more smoothly. So if they are adding this sadhana, yogic practice, to their anxiety, then we're defeating the purpose of practicing yoga. So we're always trying to like bring ease to them, to the participants, not to worry about anything.
Thank you so much, Yamei, for all your time. And I remember during the teacher training, we were told constantly that if you set the right conditions, yoga will anyway happen. At the end of the day, it comes down to your presence, how you are as a person. And I think when I started, and still there's a lot of work to be done on myself, we all are work in progress. But you volunteered for a few days when I was doing my training, and I was really moved by your presence. And I had such a good fortune that you visited me, and we were able to do this conversation. I don't know, how much others will listen, but I will listen to it again and again. And I learned so much from you in the past few days that we were together. So
likewise.
Thank you so much. And yeah, you have an amazing presence. I mean, yeah.
You too.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.